Horton and the Kwuggerbug, and more lost stories by Dr. Seuss. Introduction by Charles D. Cohen. Horton and the Kwuggerbug. It happened last May on a very nice day, while the elephant, Horton, was walking, they say, just minding his business, just going his way, when the Kwuggerbug dropped from a tree with a plunk and landed on Horton the elephant's trunk. The Kwuggerbug leaned toward the elephant's ear. Perhaps you're wondering, he said, why I'm here. Well, I've got a secret, he whispered. I know the Beezlenut Tree where some beezlenuts grow. Beezlenuts? Horton looked up with wide eyes. Beezlenuts? This was a happy surprise. For all of the nuts in that jungle to eat, the nut of the beezel by far was most sweet. But why, Horton asked, do you tell this to me? Well, you see, the bug answered, my Beezlenut Tree is rather far off, and I'm not very strong. I'd get there much quicker if you came along, so I'll make you a deal that I think is quite fair. You finish the legs, and you carry me there. I'll finish the brains, show the way to the tree, then half of the nuts are for you, half for me. A deal, Horton said with a smile on his face. Hold tight, and we're off to your beezlenut place. Just steer me and show me the best road to take. No road? Road, laughed the Kwuggerbug. We'll take the lake. And he steered the big elephant down to the shore of a lake that was 30 miles long, maybe more. Oh, shivered Horton. Now wait just a minute. I can't swim that lake. There's crocodiles in it. Just look at their terrible teeth, how they flash. They'll chew me right up into Horton Hatch. I think, Mr. Bug, that there surely must be a much safer way to Beezlenut Tree. Now, said the Kwuggerbug. Don't start to squeal. You promised you'd go, and a deal is a deal. Horton thought. What he says is quite true. A deal's a deal. I must see the deal through. So bravely the elephant dived in that pool, and he swam for shore pond far beyond, while crocodile snapped, attempted to eat his tail and his ears and the soles of his feet. They nipped at his knees and they nabbed at his chin. He thought as he fought that he never would win, but he swam and he swum and he held his trunk high with the Kwuggerbug on it, quite safe and dry. A terrible fellow, that Kwuggerbug guy just sat there and bossed him. You hustle now, hustle! I finished the brains and you finished the muscle. So, from 10 in the morning till 2:15, poor Horton fought on till he finally got through to the side of the lake where the beezlenuts grew. He crawled through the water, tired, battered, and wet. Now where, Horton asked, are those nuts I get? Oh, laughed the Kwuggerbug. You're not there yet. Climb that, said the bug, pointing up to a sky at a terrible mountain 9,000 feet high. Climb that? Horton gulped. Not the way that I feel, said the bug. Now a deal is a deal, and don't start to argue. No ifs and no buts. You'll finish right, and I'll finish the nuts. That climb, sighed poor Horton, will kill me no doubt, but a deal is a deal, and I cannot back out. He drew a deep breath, and he threw back his shoulders and dragged his tired legs over rocks and big boulders. He stumbled and staggered uphill over stones that tattered his toenails and bruised all his bones, while the Kwuggerbug perched on his trunk all the time and kept yelling, "Climb, you dumb elephant, climb!" He climbed, he grew dizzy, his ankles grew numb, but he climbed, and he climbed, and he clumb, and he clumb. His hearing grew faint, and his eyesight grew dim, but he clumb, and he clumb, and he clim, from 2:15 until 4:45, till finally, Old Horton, more dead than alive, had searched their carried that bug to the very tip-top, and then, only then, did the elephant stop, and he gasped his knees as he sank to his knees. "Now, where my Beezlenut, sir, if you please?" "Right there," said the bug. Horton looked. It was true. 'Twas the Beezlenut Tree, where the Beezlenuts grew. "But, Bug," Horton moaned, "we're here and they're there. Well, in that peak in between us is air. Now how can I get through that space in between? I can't walk on there, if you see what I mean." "A deal is a deal," snapped the bug. "I'm the boss. You stretch out your trunk and you put me across." "Stretch, Horton, stretch!" yelled the bug. So he stretched. He stretched 2 feet, but still wouldn't touch. "Street, Horton, street!" yelled the bug. So he streeched. It hurt him real badly, but finally it reached. "At last!" sang the Kwuggerbug, chuckling with glee. And he slid down the trunk to the Beezlenut Tree. And he picked all those nuts, and he stacked a big mound of luscious, sweet Beezlenuts high on the ground. "But hey!" called the elephant. "You, over there! Half of that mound, don't forget, is my share." "Not yet," said the bug. "All the nuts have been stacked, but before we can share, they've got to be cracked." So he cracked all the nuts. Then he said with a laugh, "A deal is a deal, and I'm giving you half. One half of each nut, as you know, is the meat, and that is the half I'm keeping to eat. But half of each nut, as you know very well, is the half of the nut that's known as the shell. The shell's all for you. Ha ha ha!" laughed the bug, and he rose, and he stuffed all the shucks up the elephant's nose. Now, what would you do if he did that to you, with shucks up your nostrils? How dreadful you'd feel, but you couldn't complain, 'cause a deal is a deal. You'd have to act terribly nice and do right, and you'd say in a voice that's very polite, "Thanks, Mr. Kwuggerbug, thank you for these, but they tickle my nose, so look out, I shall sneeze." Achoo! And you sneeze, and you sneeze, and you sniz, and you sniz, and blow all the shucks from the trunk with a whiz, just the way Horton did, 'cause they blew out of his, and they blasted at Kwuggerbug so far away that he sailed through the air for the whole month of May, and didn't come down till the 15th of June, all tattered and torn in the late afternoon, at a place that's so far, and now he never can go to his Beezlenut Tree, where his Beezlenuts grow.